Earlier on in the year, you were saying, I'm opening on the 1st of July. I don't care who says what. How are you feeling now?
Well, I think the biggest question that we must ask ourselves is what's happened in the last 12 hours for Michael Martin to have come out and said the Delta variant isn't a concern, and literally overnight he's saying, actually, well, it appears it's a huge concern now. That's the biggest question we have to ask ourselves, because I don't know what's changed in literally 12 hours. And now the entire restaurant industry, the bar industry, so many other industries are sitting going, what are we doing? We're supposed to be open in 10, 12 days' time. And now we have to wait till next Thursday or Friday because the government apparently think it's just that easy to open a bar or restaurant. Oh, just open the door, lads, and off you go. And they are literally so far removed from what's going on. It's actually beggars belief.
One of your tweets today said, another morning of let's blame the restaurants, bars and foreign travel, none of which are open, instead of asking how the hell did the Delta variant get here. No, you didn't use the word hell, but I've just superimposed that. You feel that you're being unfairly blamed in all this and suffering as a result?
I think, Adrian, to be perfectly honest with you, it's actually gone beyond feeling, upset or unfair or whatever. It's actually a joke. It's an absolute joke. I mean, how does the Tánaiste come out 2 or 3 days ago and tell us that the pandemic is over? How and why is there no journalists out there asking these politicians these serious questions? Why are we that we have 40 in hospital with COVID, not because of COVID, with 13 in ICU with COVID, not because of COVID, that our numbers are way down on last year. We have almost 4 million vaccines given, and we are now in a worse situation than where we were last year. Somebody has to turn around and make these guys accountable, because what they're doing is they come out with the shadowing of great news. Our national debt is in great position, guys, because guess what? Even though we've borrowed more, our interest is lower. Well, what they won't tell you is that the interest is lower for one reason and one reason only. We've borrowed more money on a much lower rate for now. But we're going to have to borrow even more money on a higher rate to pay back that off, which means our interest is going to go through the roof again. So at some stage, somebody needs to call out this government for the worst useless shower of inept politicians that I have ever encountered in my life.
Okay,
and I'm not going to regret saying that.
In their defence, you can argue that they don't want this Delta variant of the virus no more than any of the rest of us do. But we've seen, for example, on this island in the north yesterday, they had 187 new cases. That's their highest level in 100 days. So this is a problem. The virus is increasing. We've seen in Dundalk, they've opened a walk-in test centre. In Waterford, they're doing the same because this virus is starting to spread again.
Adrian, the real simple reality is that what we've shown in the last 12 to 16 months is that initially perhaps it worked, but now lockdowns are not the answer. It's as simple as that, because what happens in 3 weeks' time? We're already hearing that the Indian variant plus, we can't call it that, the Delta variant plus is now a major concern in India. But the Indian variant that came out a couple of months back is no longer mentioned in India. Boris is so worried about the Delta variant over in the UK, they're about to put 60,000 fans into Wembley to watch a match in the coming week. So at what stage do we turn around and say, look, lads, do you know that living with COVID thing that we mentioned? Well, we actually are going to have to live with COVID, because what is the alternative? Continuous lockdown? I mean, if we were to listen to public health advice forever, we would have been wiped out decades ago because of AIDS, because they told us none of us should be riding each other anymore. So at what point do we turn around and call a halt to this nonsense and discover that the fine line of balance of keeping the economy going and worrying about COVID, we've far reached that? We're in serious trouble now with our economy. I said we have to open up July the 1st in rural Ireland, because otherwise rural Ireland is destroyed.
Okay, let me read out a text that's just come in to me, Paul, and it says, ridiculous, selfish nonsense from Paul Treyvaud again. I, of course, feel sorry for publicans and restaurants, but people like him make me question it. He's only concerned about his own pocket.
Yeah, you see, that's just stupid. And you can tell whoever sent that in that I said that's just stupid, because it's gone. You see, do you know what I have right now, Adrian? While the CMO is saying that his remit is to worry about the people of this country, my remit is to worry about my 8 to 10 staff that I have downstairs listening to this interview and their livelihoods. I need to worry to make sure that I'm open for July and August. So the guy saying that I'm being selfish is just a clown, and I don't care what he thinks at this stage, because it's, like I said, it's gone beyond that.
Okay,
if we
Paul,
are not open,
is one of the worries, and I think it is, in government circles, that if they allow everything to reopen on the 5th of July, which, by the way, means you waiting 4 days past your threat from earlier on in the year, but which I assume you're doing, are you? You're not opening on the 1st.
Adrian, just so we're clear here, right? So when I said that we're opening up in July the 1st back in February, there was people coming in saying, Asher, what a publicity stunt. You're going to be open by June anyway. That's what was being said to me. And now people are saying, just open up. What are you worried about?
Okay,
no, one second. This is important that we say this. The reality of it is that the restaurant industry and the publican industry and the bar industry is governed by licensing laws in this country. So anything that's going to show that you're breaking the law or in breach of the law means your license does not get renewed. That's why we are not just opening. It's not as simple as that. And people will say there's strength in numbers and everybody go do it. I came out with the plan back in April actually, and released it in May to say for all of us to come together to make sure that indoor dining, indoor hospitality opened up at the same time in June the 2nd. We got huge support, but we got nothing from the associations and we got absolutely no support coming in from our so-called high-profile...
Okay, let me ask you this, Paul. Isn't one of the concerns, and this is something that everybody feels, that this reopening of our country is the last we'll ever reopen the country, that it's going to stay open, and that is what the government are trying to do here, to do it slowly but surely and not have to delay stuff if at all possible, but never to have to go backwards. That's obviously your biggest fear. That's everybody's biggest fear. So if it means waiting another couple of days or another couple of weeks to ensure that when you open, you stay open, surely that's what we all want.
I have a lack of a lot of things in my life, but I'm blessed with a memory. And the government said this to us before, that we're going to slow down the reopening so that when we reopen, we won't have to close you down. So this is nothing that we haven't heard before. The reality of it is, in rural Ireland, 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks revenue in June or July or August is worth 4 or 5 months for us in the winter.